Coming up on Zestology today, is it possible to create our own blue zones even if we don't live in one? We all know about the power of longevity and blue zones, but not many of us actually live in a blue zone area. So how can we recreate the magic? I'm Tony Wright, and this is the podcast all about health, biohacking and mindset. You may be able to hear the birds in the background as, well, you probably know by now if you listen to this podcast, I live in Portugal and we're on holiday in the mountains, in the Algarve, in Monchique, and it is absolutely beautiful. And I've just packed off the family to go and wait outside for 5 minutes. We're going to go for a little family hike while I record this podcast intro. And it's a fascinating podcast. It's with Ray Jansen, who is creating, he says, his own blue zone area in Portugal. And I just had to interview him to find out more. He's really into the sort of things that we're into on this podcast, and it was an absolute pleasure talking to him. And here he is.
Raymond, how are you?
Pretty good, thank you. What about you?
Oh, really good. Yeah. So you are in Portugal, like me, up the coast a little bit. Where are you exactly?
Palma, that's about 45 minutes from the coast by car.
Okay, very nice. Yeah.
It's south of Coimbra.
Well, I've been looking forward to chatting to you so much because it's interesting, isn't it? Because not everybody has the luxury of being able to choose a new life and move somewhere different. But if you do have the option, it's fairly special. So what's your story? How did you end up here?
I think all people have the option, just are too scared to do it. Especially if you live like in countries as the Netherlands or England. I mean, you earn quite good wages and you can easily afford it in Portugal.
Yeah, so money is one thing. Visas, you haven't had the problem with visas that we.
Oh, yeah, you're from the UK. Yeah.
But then it's difficult, you know. I mean, people money is a massive thing for a lot of people, especially in the UK at the moment. And then, having the money to come and move somewhere, it's just not for everybody. But anyway, I feel very grateful that we're here. So, What's your story?
Well, I don't have kids, so what makes it a lot easier as well, of course. If you have kids, right?
Yes, and let me tell you, the school situation was just a headache for about 4 months.
I can imagine. That makes the story a lot different, of course. If you're like me, no kids, you can basically go wherever you are, wherever you want to go. It's Portugal is not cheap, but you can live very cheap here, depending on what kind of lifestyle you want. If you like a simple life, like me, grow your own food and live self-sufficient, I can live easily of like 300 euros a month here.
Wow. Okay, so then,
but that's not Algarve.
Completely different. Yeah, that's not Algarve, which is where we are.
I know.
So, wow. So you grow. So what you're doing is you are sort of setting up a blue zone area in Portugal, which I absolutely love. That theory of creating an area where you can live long, live well, live healthily, give something back to the land, and sort of build a sense of community. It's just amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah. So what's the theory behind it, and why did you decide to do it?
I think it's the only way of living a natural life. If you like longevity, if you like to stay healthy and happy, connect with nature, then I think this is the way to go.
Yeah, amazing. Because Portugal isn't actually one of the official blue zone areas, is it?
No, it's not. But I think you can create it yourself. I mean, it's just adapting the same lifestyle as the people do in the blue zone. I wonder if they are actually aware of it, though, that they are living in the blue zone. I mean, I'm, of course, always aware of what I eat, how I move, what I do. And they are not aware of it. They're just doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you duplicate that life, then hopefully we're getting 100 years old as well.
And healthy and sort of healthy and happy in the process.
Healthy and happy. That's very important. Otherwise, there's no need in going and getting 100 years old if you're not happy, eh?
Yeah. It's difficult because I sometimes feel I'm a bit boring with my friends now because I literally say that Portugal is the best thing since sliced bread about everything. But it really is. And you sort of think maybe it should be one of the blue zones because it is quite a healthy lifestyle here. You've got all that fresh air coming in off the Atlantic, lots of fresh food. Portuguese cooking is normally great as well. And then the people are very friendly and welcoming in my experience. Have you found that as well?
Depends where. I mean, I'm really in the countryside. You still have some how would you call it? I think redneck is the wrong word, right? It's too extreme.
Okay.
But like the people who don't really appreciate foreigners, if you don't speak fluent Portuguese, they look at you grumpy. But like the local people, they really welcome you. They are like they're happy you come to their village, because their village, all the young people are leaving basically, and it's all getting how do you say it in English? People don't take care of the land anymore, don't take care of the area. So they're happy people are coming back in the countryside, I think. And a lot of people do definitely appreciate it. But you always have some people who think Portugal is for Portuguese only, and the foreigners are spending too much money here, and the locals can't afford a house anymore, stuff like that, of course. There are always two sides in the story.
There are, yeah. It was interesting, that the whole theory behind blue zones is there's a number of different areas that contribute to people sort of living long and living healthily. And one of those key areas that was so important for us moving to Portugal was community. And we said, if we can't find a community where we feel happy and we feel welcomed, but we can also give something back, then it's just not going to be good enough. It's such an important part of longevity, isn't it? And actually, I saw some stats yesterday that a far bigger killer than heart disease, dementia, is this theory that loneliness is such a huge contributor to ill health. And premature death. So that is definitely really important in terms of blue zones, isn't it?
Definitely. Loneliness, stress, depressions, all of that contributes on living less long, for sure.
Yeah. So, because with me, community for me means, as much as I'd love to live in the sticks in the middle of nowhere, I like to be able to walk down the road and get a coffee in the morning, Raymond.
Yeah.
and see people.
Yeah. We live along the Pilgrims Road.
Okay.
So a lot of pilgrims walk by here. But besides that, the first cafe is like 3.5 kilometers from here, I think.
Okay, yeah, so it's quite a long hike if you want to go in the morning.
I love it. I just go by bicycle, but some people think it's too remote here, but I love it personally.
Great. So tell us the process then. Did you buy some land?
We bought a house with land on there, and we renovated the house.
Great. You did it
yourself?
I
didn't do it myself. No. I wish I could, but I can't. We used a lot of local Portuguese people, and I must say the local Portuguese people are good workers, reliable, very hard workers. They don't talk much. They just work, and they did an awesome job, I must say.
Fantastic. And then the house was finished.
Yeah.
Your Portuguese land.
Yeah.
You're starting to grow food.
That's the first thing I did, actually, before the renovations.
Great. So you were really excited by that, right?
That's the main important thing for me, is growing, yeah.
And is all the food that you eat the food that you grow?
I wish, especially, of course, in the winter time, that's not possible. Well, I mean, we had the fires in 2022, so everything burned down here. And I just came back from Holland. I had to work, unfortunately, for a few months. So we didn't take care of the land. But now we grow a lot again. But we've got a greenhouse, so the potatoes and everything are growing again, the broccoli. We've got a lot growing. But it's always, I mean, we just came back in December, so we're not there yet that we can eat everything. I wish.
Yeah. I want to ask you about that fire in a second. But just so back to the theory. So you're growing as much as you can, but not everything at the moment. And then,
at the moment, not, but we will, hopefully.
Yeah. And then are you hoping to create some sort of community where other people come, they can get nutritional advice, they can contribute to what you're doing, and that is where the sort of the Blue Zone community comes in?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. But it's not easy, so I just say people can come and look and see how we live. And but especially if it comes to nutrition, everyone has their own theory what is healthy and what's not healthy. But I think if you use common sense, if you grow your own food from a healthy soil, or you buy processed food, what comes from depleted soils, it's just common sense, right? What's more healthy?
Right. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Full with chemicals sprayed, and it's terrible.
Because we have some friends who live a little bit up the coast from here in Algesur, or near Algesur, and they live in a place where you can either pay quite a lot of money a night and you live in a lovely yurt, Or you can pay nothing, but you can do a certain amount of work per week to help them on the land and help them feed the chickens and, plant the flowers and that sort of thing. And that's a lot. And most people do that. My mate does it the other way and pays for his room because he doesn't want to help with the chickens. But, but that's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. So you could do that.
We had some volunteers here, but it doesn't work out always too well because you can get certain type of people as well, what you don't really like. But a lot of people are good as well, of course. But we had some people, how to say, like alcoholics, and they came on with a great energy. Afterwards, they were completely drunk, and then they were basically homeless. And then they come here. It was awesome for a while, but then they start going back into their habits, and then So you have to be careful with it.
Yeah.
Not everyone is pure of heart to actually contribute and want to experience your lifestyle.
Yeah. Well, we're all different after we've had a couple of drinks. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure.
More than a couple of drinks.
That's for sure.
So, I mean, it sounds great what you're doing, And what if you sort of think 5-10 years into the future? What would you like? What would you like for your land and for the project, for everything that you're doing?
Oh, we would love some people to stay here. So we have like farm stay. So a few buildings where they can stay and experience a life. That will be nice. And definitely some personal training as a nutrition advice will be good as well. So especially for people who are unhealthy, they stay in wherever, Holland or England, and they feel like, we want to escape this life. It's not healthy. The rat race, the unhealthy food. So they want to come here for a few weeks and see how we live, and then hopefully change their life slowly as well. That's what I like.
Yeah.
Interrupting this podcast for one moment to let you know that it is brought to you by the product Sleep Breakthrough from BIOptimizers. This is absolutely a brilliant product, and BIOptimizers have had it for a while, and because they sponsor this podcast, they've sent me some, and in the past I've tried it, but I don't think I took the full dose because I always like to start slowly with new supplements. Here on holiday though, we've been taking Sleep Breakthrough, 2 scoops, which is the recommended dose, about an hour before bed, and I've been having wonderful dreams and deep sleep. So I said to BIOptimizers, I know we're supposed to be talking about magnesium breakthrough today, but can we talk about sleep breakthrough instead? It's got GABA in it, it's got good dose of magnesium in it, it's got organic monk fruit extract and blue spirulina powder and organic beetroot powder in it as well. The ingredients are great, but more importantly, it's just helping me sleep. And I have struggled over the past few weeks, especially in the early part of the night. I'm going so deep. It is wonderfully refreshing, and I'd be very interested to know if you like it. So Sleep Breakthrough, head to biooptimizers.com or biooptimizers.co.uk. It is rigorously formulated and tested, as you might expect from the BIOptimizers brand, and this is a good one. So biooptimizers.com, biooptimizers.co.uk, and get 10% off all their products, including Sleep Breakthrough, by using the code Zestology10. But I would just be interested. My friend Taylor was staying at this hotel where we're staying on our holiday as I record this on Saturday night, and I said, mate, do you want a scoop of this Sleep Breakthrough? And he was laughing. He said, yeah, all right. And we saw him at breakfast in the morning, and he said, oh my God, where do I get that stuff? So go to biooptimizers.com, biooptimizers.co.uk, and use the code Zestology10. Back to the show.
In a different life, many years ago, you worked in IT, didn't you?
Yeah.
And you sort of had the classic job where you sat inside, you hunched over a computer screen. And what happened? I mean, how did you go from that to sitting in the sunshine on a cold January day with your sunglasses on?
It's super nice here. How's the weather at your place?
It's gorgeous. Yeah, it's not cold. Yeah. It's just the most perfect. I feel like spring has come, which is going to really annoy people listening, but it has.
It's amazing. It's 22 degrees today, I think.
Yeah, it's
really
lovely,
nice.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. I hope that my sunglasses doesn't bother you. Otherwise, it's the bright.
Oh no, not at all. No, at all. I'm just living vicariously through you because my computer's inside today.
I just use my phone. So I was 25 when I had a huge burnout. I had 2 houses, paying my mortgages. It was just too much. My relationship broke up, and I was like, this is not my life. Especially IT. The stress level is so high, and so I was like, it's enough. I'm going to leave. And so I left. I went to Australia, and that was an eye-opener. Amazing. Like, yeah, this is the real life. And I just had fun. And then I ended up in Malaysia on my way back. And then the tsunami hit it. No, so I went first to Holland, back to work. And in 3 weeks, I was like, no, this is not my life anymore. So I went back to, I was lucky because I rent out my house. I could live from that money. So I was very lucky. And then I went to Malaysia, and then the tsunami hit it. And I called my friend from Adra. Not sure if you heard of that organization, because tsunami hit us. So I was like, how can I help? What can I do? And then they said, well, actually, we need a website to inform the customers, the clients, the donors. So yeah, that's what I did. I built a website for them, and then they asked, okay, do this IT work as well, and I did volunteers work all over the world. I ended up doing small projects, and so yeah, I was volunteering for a while. Then I was talking to someone about permaculture, and I was like, yeah, the traveling is awesome, but it doesn't get fulfilling, because I saw as well that volunteering, it was how to say it politely, it's politics. It's not, you can't help people really, as if you work for an NGO, in my opinion. They're doing some good things, but in the end, it's most of the time it's about politics. So they want to have influence on political matters, and that's how it works. And that didn't feel right for me. So I was like, in the end, I can't keep doing this as a volunteer. I remember I was in Africa, and I was still very idealistic. And then I was in a hotel for like 100-something euros per night. I'm like, what? I don't want to spend this much money for a hotel. Of course, they paid for it, but I was like, that's a waste of money. And then the weekend we were going to a project. So I said, okay, I'll pack my bags, and then we go. I said, no, leave your bags here. Look, no, I'm not going to keep this room. This is ridiculous. It's okay. We pay for it. It's fine. So, they're just wasting money. Well, I think, hey, these people are poor here. So I was like, no, this is not my thing anymore. I continued for a while doing it remote, but then paid for them. And then I came in contact with permaculture. You probably heard of permaculture?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that really changed my mind. So like, this is a better meaning in life, live growing your own food, live self-sufficient. And from then on, I was like, no, I'm going all the way. I'm going to buy a farm, and grow my own food, and live off grid, live self-sufficiently. Really? And and then I started to be more interested in health as well. I was never really into health, and then once I really was interested in health, I never got sick again. I was like, hey, I'm doing something right there. Before I was always struggling with my health, sick easily, and just thought it was normal. And then once I started growing my own food and eat well balanced, and then really dive into nutrition, I didn't get sick anymore. It's a bit strange, isn't it?
Yeah.
So like, hey, this is something I'm doing right, apparently. And the more I dig into it, the more I studied into it, then I start to realize the more healthy your soil, the more healthy your gut. And where's your resistance? How do we say healthy? If you have a healthy gut, the microbiome in your guts, that is your resistance. 70% is in there.
Yeah. So
this way made me realize, feed your soil and not the plants. And the more healthy your soil, the more healthy you are.
Yeah. Wow. And then you started this new life over here, you're feeling better, and then you have what has happened a lot, unfortunately, across Portugal over the last few years.
Yeah.
A massive wildfire comes through. Were you at the property at the time?
We were. I was actually, I was taking a bath at the time.
You were taking a bath?
Yeah.
It came that quickly.
It came that quick. I thought it was past already, because we had the fires all around us, and then I think the danger is past now.
Yeah.
And so I was taking a bath, and my friend calls me, hey, how's the fire? I got no idea. I thought it was gone now. So I opened the window. It's dark already. Like, that's not okay. It should not be dark this time, But it was all the smoke. It was completely dark.
No.
Completely dark. I was like, okay, it's time to get out of the bath. And I recorded everything on my CCTV camera, because we still have electricity and internet, because I'm off grid. Yeah. So I could follow everything. And then the police came to pick us up. We had to leave. And I saw everything happening. But luckily, we also still had water. They closed down the water. But we still have our own well. So we watered everything very well. So our property was fine. Just, and not the trees, unfortunately. Not everywhere. At the border, I watered everything. So all these trees were fine. But all the rest, the other side, I couldn't water that much there. So that was all gone.
Because I have a friend down here who had the same thing. And he actually took his wife and kid and dog and cat off somewhere safe. And then he came back. He also has a well and was putting out fires as much as he could. And I said,
did that before
was that not a bit dangerous? And he said, yeah, but I was just like so invested in the land, I had to do it. Which sounded to me
I was doing
mad.
it at the neighbors, and it didn't scare me at all.
Yeah.
And at first I thought as well, are you crazy? I'm not going to do it. But then when I saw all the Portuguese doing it, so I went to them to help them. And it's not so scary at all, actually. I was just right next to the flames of maybe 10 meters high. And I don't know. It's not scared or something.
Yeah. So how is the land now? Because I walk around some areas here where there's been these big fires, and it sort of looks quite charred, quite black.
Some areas definitely. Some areas are coming back very green. It depends what kind of trees that were growing before. Some are coming back, like the oaks are coming back, and so we replanted everything. So all the grass is green again, and we're full with fruit trees again. So our land is looking fine, but around us, some areas are still black. And they cut a lot of trees as well, of course, so that's horrible. So it's very, how do you say it? No trees, nothing. Very plain, cold, right?
Yeah.
But some areas are very nice and green again.
Fantastic. Well, that's great. You've got the land, you are connecting with locals and family and loved ones, and you're eating good food, and you'll live to 120? What do you fancy?
At least 100, that's for sure. I'm not sure if my brain can keep up, though. That's the only part that worries me. But, let's see.
Yeah. Well, this podcast is all about energy. So a question I ask everybody is, what is one book that has had an influence on you? And what is one tip that you would give to sort of suggest that people live with more energy and vitality? And it's obvious that living a very primal, natural way of life is a good one for you. But what about one book and one tip?
I read many books, so it's hard to say which book really. But what book? I saw it on your website as well. But did you read the Wim Hof book?
Yeah.
I liked it, man. I really liked it, and I resonate with it.
He's good. Yeah, he's been on this podcast as well, Wim Hof.
What? You're joking me?
Yeah.
Wow. Are you that famous?
Yeah. Well, I'm not, but he is.
If you get him in a podcast, you must be famous also.
Yeah, no, he's good.
So what am I doing here? I'm not famous. I'm nothing.
It's not about being famous. It's about living an energized life. And I'm not really interested in what you're doing. So yeah, it's okay. Good. Yeah, cool. No, we love Wim, and we love you, Raymond, as well. So,
cheers, man.
So Wim Hof's book. And then what about one tip for living with more energy and vitality?
Well, definitely work in the garden, grow your own food, and live in nature. And I'm sure when you eat more well-balanced, in my opinion, raw food is very good as well. So more plant-based raw food. Because what I really experience, if I eat more raw food, I don't get that dip afterwards. So I've got a lot more energy and less hunger. I don't say you only have to eat raw food or something, definitely not. But I always experience, do you eat raw food yourself sometimes?
Yeah, sometimes. I probably used to eat a little bit more than I do now, but yeah, sometimes. Yeah.
How do you feel afterwards?
To be honest, I didn't feel great when I ate raw food, but I think I had other stuff going on in the gut that has probably been healed somewhat now. So yeah,
the fibers are hard to digest, so your body has to get used to that first, and that takes a while.
Yeah.
But I mean, once you're used to that, you don't get the dip anymore because the enzymes in the food, you only can produce enzymes yourself, so it's a lot easier to digest. But you have to get used to the fibers first.
I love this idea of creating a blue zone. It's a really nice idea. And
Thank you.
I mean, another thing that we haven't really mentioned is the air quality here. I do notice the air quality is a lot better than my hometown of London, which I love. But the one thing is that the Portuguese drive a lot of old cars, and the exhaust is terrible. So they drive past you, and then you really notice how good the air was about 3 minutes ago.
Okay. Yeah, and of course they still burn wood. What is a problem? And sometimes, like the olives, after the olives harvest, they burn the trees. That's a terrible thing. So that time the air can be pretty bad. But even then, I mean, I don't believe in all smoke is bad. It really depends what kind of smoke, like the PM2.5 or 1.5. It all depends if it connects with like the heavy metals in the air. If there are no many heavy metals in the air by cars or industry, then I don't think it's that bad comparing to just cars basically and heavy metals. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a big difference. Yeah.
So Raymond, it's great to talk to you. I'm sure people will love to know more about your way of life. Where can they find out more about you?
I guess my website. If they Google for Blue Zone Portugal, you will find me.
Yeah, fantastic. We'll put a link in the show notes as well.
Cool.
And I hope that at some point we can come and say hello to you.
Yeah, it would be great, man. Come by. We'll make you some nice food.
That'd be great. Some raw food, maybe a bit of cooked as well.
I can add some quinoa, some beans. I don't need beans raw, well, depending on what kind of beans. I still think they're super important for your diet for sure.
Yeah, I get very farty after beans, but that's a different podcast.
You're not used to the fibers yet. Eat more ramen.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Raymond, really, really good to talk to you. Thanks so much. Good luck with the Blue Zone project.
Thank you very much. Good to talk to you.
That is it for this podcast. Thank you very much for listening. A quick shout out to my podcast partners, Sleep Breakthrough. This week, we have been taking Sleep Breakthrough on holiday, as you know, and oh my goodness, I've been sleeping so deeply, and I don't think it's just because I'm on holiday. It's blue, which comes as a bit of a surprise, and I think that's because one of the ingredients is blue spirulina. Tastes good as well. It's got all sorts of things like magnesium and GABA in there, and I have found over the last month or two my sleep hasn't been great, and BIOptimizers just happened, because they sponsored this podcast, they happened to send me some Sleep Breakthrough. So we thought we'd try it. And it's been revolutionary for my sleep and my wife's sleep as well. And we're about to order some more with my discount code. So go to biooptimizers.com or biooptimizers.co.uk. Use the code Zestology10. Definitely worth a go if you suffer from sleep problems. And I'm really impressed. And that's it, basically. I think you'll enjoy it. It was supposed to be a magnesium breakthrough podcast this week, and I messaged them and said, can we talk about sleep breakthrough instead, because I'm enjoying that. Zestology 10 anywhere in the world .com and .co.uk, and thanks for listening.